here, Ed, special shout out. I'll now move on to what the show is about. All right, so Slow Down in itself is a sentiment to relax and enjoy the moment. I used a drive-in theater, no pun intended, as a vehicle to express that. So a lot of the influences from here in this show, beyond Chicano motifs, which is to be Chicano real quick, is to be of Mexican descent, born in America. So I derived a lot of influences from my neighborhood in Texas. It's like a sub-neighborhood in Dallas. It's called Oak Cliff. So that first movie poster down there was my profile. That's me starring in an action movie in Oak Cliff. So I have 5 faux movie posters inspired by different movies in pop culture, which is very familiar with Chicano style artworks, is that they'll pull from pop culture. And there's also a good sense of humor too. We have, Enter the Boleta, someone that's a crime fighter with Mexican ice creams. Trinity Waters, which is a play on Goodfellas, but we have a, Mexican, Tex-Mex, Chicano version. Love Filled Lucy, that's almost like a pretty woman, and then Westmoreland Story, most people can probably tie that together, West Side Story. This was actually the train station by where I grew up and would frequently take to high school. So deeper into these pieces, this is the first piece I made. A lot of you might recognize it because it's all over campus. Friday at the Down. I always thought like this pose right here was pretty cool, with the zoot suiters and like other, Chicanos just kind of like, hey, I'm here. This is my stance. So I always liked going to the movies because it was something that was, carefree. I could let my imagination run. It didn't matter what other demographic was there. We were all participating in one activity that was, fairly peaceful and letting our imaginations fly. Going with family, going with friends, first date, what have you. These like sentimental memories can be made doing a simple activity. So this was the first piece that I made, and really was like the entryway to the rest of these pieces. I worked on usually 2 at a time. So the 4th one down, the concession stand is titled Child Pool. So we have like, interesting sense of humor. It's like, go ahead and eat. So I worked on that one and this one at the same time. And real quick, because I know there's quite a bit of students here, one thing that I learned about working on multiples is that it was a good way to warm up as an artist. I could get big areas and warm up for details on other areas. And as I was working on these, inspiration just started rolling. I really was fascinated with the size and started to feel like I was falling into the scene of the drive-in. And as I kept working on them, the idea just snowballed. Okay, what can other elements of the drive-in look like? The projection room. There's an old theater in Jersey City, New Jersey called the Lowe's Theater. So I went there for a tour once and was inspired by that. And thought, yeah, I want to see the projection room of the Down drive-in. So we have other scenes too. People on the first date, checking out the billboard. And what I try to do too is like make this fun and familiar while showcasing these Chicano elements. I'll throw this in real quick for one of the wonderful teachers here. I pulled a lot of influence from the Mexican printmaker illustrator Guadalupe Posada, but she used a lot of calaveras, these skull characters, and that was an ode to him and an ode to the culture. And I can carry these on past political storytelling to tell other stories of unity. So again, like we have like family doing activities, everyone has a skeleton, so it's accessible. And it doesn't have to be scary either. These people aren't fighting, they're having a good time. In that 4th and Chow Pool, there's 2 brothers trying to get popcorn in their mouths by their father playing with them. So yeah, of course every artist has their secrets, so some of these have different sentimental meanings to me. And I hope that as you guys were viewing them, you could pull, from some of your own experiences and, have some adventure and curiosities of your own. So that's what I am actually happy that it seemed to be received well through the crowd. The reason I chose to do black and white for the scenes was to present that feeling of, night. Okay, here the lights are turning down, more focus on the movies with color. I also wanted to bring color to people that I knew. So these are influenced by a culmination of people that I knew in my neighborhood. These movie posters right here are people that I went to middle school with, did a play with, in high school, went to high school with. And in the front, you guys might have seen different flyers. So I really try to expand on this idea of a Chicano drive-in to see what it looks like. And I feel like I was talking to Bob earlier about, most of these drawings were made in the basement. And I think it's amazing and so fun to have a creative gift, because I can see something that no one else has seen before, and then I'm seeing it for the first time as it's coming up in front of me. And I can really push this imagination. Like I can see I wanted to see a drive-in that looked like this. And I think it's important to push the limits and show different aspects of this genre of artwork, that goes beyond, certain stereotypes, and I will stop right there and start accepting any types of questions.